There's this $90 in real IRL Destiny 2 Ghost model. Ooh. It lights up and connects to Amazon's Alexa to equip loadouts, explain the game's lore, etc. Dalen, it's not a question. You deserve it.
It lights up. Yes, I deserve it.
And it's Amazon. Now, is Amazon the one that says, okay, no. Okay, Google's is a different thing.
Yeah,
right?
Okay, Google's is a different thing. That's the wannabe Alexa.
You deserve it, Dalen. A real life ghost model in your room and somewhere, and you just Destiny 2 Ghost. Fix my loadout.
Now all I gotta do is put some fishing wire on the roof and hang that thing down.
And you'll be all ready to go. And this is Salient Point number 9. We're here on this Tuesday episode. We got some big news today, Dan. We dropped. Usually we
Hold up.
What do you mean?
Introduce yourself.
Oh, that's true.
Who are you?
I said your name. Okay, I'm Carlos Macias. I'm your host, Carlos Macias, along with
Dalen Kirkwood,
co-host. My co-host here. So I was so excited about the news. Like, we usually accumulate this news. It's been a weekend, so over the weekend we're like, let's get some stuff together, and then we had to push a bunch of stuff out of the way because for the Mega Man 30th anniversary. They're just producing some news bombs, There's Capcom came out and they're saying that it's going to be a new Mega Man 11 to release in 2018. It's going to be on the Switch, PS4, Xbox One, PC, and it's going to be in a 2.5D style, reminiscent of Powered Up. If you guys don't know, the PSP Mega Man 1 remake where it's kind of 2.5D. They also said that the Mega Man Legacy Collection 1 and 2 is coming to the Switch with Amiibo support, and all Mega Man let me put this on buzz. And all Mega Man X games are coming to the Switch. Now, which of these announcements, I can maybe already guess, but which one of these announcements do you care about the most, Dalen? And do you like that 2.5D look of Mega Man 11? Don't get confused. I'm sorry.
No, it's all right. No. First off, I looked at the trailer for that 2.5 and I saw the way that they actually put it together. I don't know what Powered Up thing you're talking about. Are you talking about like Mavericks?
You never played it?
Powered Up?
It's called Mega Man Powered Up, man, on PSP. You never played it.
I played Maverick Hunters. That's the one I played.
No.
That was the full 3D one for the for the original game.
It was nice, and that's actually what's giving me hope for this 2.5D. See, some people they don't understand that it actually takes more work to do like the pixel art style or like sort of a cleaner animated look. It takes work.
I could tell.
It takes work.
They got to really do the smooth animation to make it look seamless as they go.
Yeah, so what happens with the 2.5D is that you just make some... I'm not saying it's easy, right? It's like
it's not easy.
You just snap your fingers and it's completely done. What I'm saying is you make some polygonal models and, you kind of push them out there. Whereas the animated form or the 8-bit style is kind of like it takes just a little bit more work to make it look good. It's kind of like the South Park games. I don't know if you know, but the South Park games, the creators talk about, it's like the show was made kind of in a scrapbook looking style, and it's kind of made like a...
With their little flash animation that they just kind of put screenshots
It's supposed to be kind of a crappy style to it.
And they don't care.
They don't care. But for the game, they actually had to work really hard to keep that style intact. So it's maybe sort of like that, where you think like, wait, it's 8-bit or it's animated, it should be easier. But it's like, no, it's pretty hard.
It's just pretty hard to actually make it look the same way and make it interactive.
Now, the only thing I will say from what I remember is Powered Up was actually a little more like kind of what do you call it, chibi? Or chibi, where it's like a big head, little body. This one looks a little cooler than that. It looks a little sleeker than that. But it looks, from the video that I saw, it looks like they're keeping the old school Mega Man, 1, 2, 3.
Yeah, the 9, way that they built it, I kind of wasn't a huge fan of the original Mega Mans, though I did play most of them.
Really?
I was murdered way too often in those games.
Yeah,
Mega Man 1
hard,
through 9.
They were hard.
They were way harder. Then I played Mega Man X, and I was finally able to do something with my life.
It's the easier one. Wait, so does that mean you're more excited to kind of replay or go back through the Mega Man X games versus honestly, the other collection where it puts together Mega Man 1?
Okay, between the two collections, I'm more excited for the Mega Man X collection, which the man that announced it. I don't remember the name of the guy that announced it.
Capcom. We just said Capcom.
Capcom.
They held a stream and they talked about what they're gonna do for the 30th anniversary coming up next year.
Yeah, and for the guy that announced it, he just said that they were gonna release all the Mega Man X games. games. And I kind of doubt that because Mega Man X7 was not the best of games.
Well, it's not.
Mega Man X8 kind of sells by itself.
They'll put them together. I mean, they're old, man. When was Mega Man X8 was like PlayStation 1 era, right?
No,
so we're talking what 20 years ago, almost 20.
Wait, you said Mega Man X was PlayStation 1 era?
Well, it wasn't 8 or Mega Man X8 or something.
Mega Man X8 was PS2.
Okay,
but Mega Man X7 and Mega Man X8, those were both PS2 eras.
They'll get thrown in there. Don't worry about it. They'll
Here's
get thrown into the same
Here's
collection.
the problem. In the original Mega Man X collection that was released, they said it was supposed to be the entire collection, but it was only 1 through 6. They left 7 and 8 out.
Wow.
Just period. So I'm wondering if they're going to do the same thing with this collection.
I'm a little disappointed though. I didn't know. So you haven't beaten 1, 2, or 3 or any of
I
the
haven't beaten any of those original ones.
This is terrible.
I've tried.
This is something you need to.
I've tried. I know the stories. I played through most of them. They weren't. They were.
It's
not
about
easy.
the story, man. It's about the gameplay.
It's about the gameplay,
and it's about choosing like the right order. Well, there is a right order, but if you really want to make it more difficult on yourself,
it's like, oh snaps!
then you go
Fireman is weak to ice. Oh wait. Iceman is weak to fire.
They're actually
blew my mind.
They're actually worthwhile games to go back and sit there and like just play.
They really are.
You know what? I think I have the NES.
It's like whatever. I could probably do it now if I really tried.
You know
I
what?
was a young child.
You know
when
what?
I did before.
You know what? Use save states if you must. But
use save states, but beat it.
I can't believe this. I would have thought you would have been into it.
But I saw 11 and I was super excited for that.
So 9 because they reintroduced the series, right? Like the original gameplay, meaning you don't level up as you do in X and all these other ones.
No, you do.
No, you don't level up in the same way, or it doesn't play the same way because X has like sliding and it has all these other stuff.
Oh,
and
you
Mega
don't
Man
have all
9,
those extra moves.
Yeah,
no.
That's what I'm saying. That's exactly what I'm saying. So Mega Man 9 kind of reintroduced that gameplay, like going back to the original NES games. So you didn't play those, and you didn't play 9 or 10.
I played them, but I couldn't beat them.
Not even 9 and 10.
Well, like 9 and 10, I felt the sting. I felt that old school sting, and my brain was like, "Shut down."
Yeah, I mean, you know what? I'm pretty excited. I think it's a good bomb. I think people were kind of concerned that like, what is Capcom gonna do? Do they care that this 30th anniversary is coming up? And they waited till December, but here we are. Mega Man 11 is coming out next year. I'm excited for it. It's Switch, PS4, Xbox One, PC. I might have to double dip. I'm sorry, but I might have to double dip.
With the announcement of this game, I was like, yes, I just got the Mega Man TV series from the 90s, and I was very excited.
Okay,
hey,
but that's unrelated.
It's nostalgia.
It's
Mega Man. It's all related.
No, what we're talking about here is the double dip will come in the form of I'm going to grab it for PS4 for them trophies and the Switch for its portability. I already see it in my head. Switch, I'll play it on the go, perfect it, master it. Then when I get home, I'm like, I already know the run. I just need to
go back and get the trophies.
I already know the run. I just gotta get the trophies.
All right. Well, good for you, Carlos. I wish the best for you. Most likely, I'll pick up the game, but only on one system.
It'll be cheap enough. Mega Man 11. They can't release it for $60, man.
No, they're gonna release it for like 15, maybe. Or
it'll
20.
be maybe 20. I think closer to 20. Yeah, max maybe 20.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, in other news, VR news, giving you the updates on this one because they got some new stuff happening. Of course, this has actually been happening for a little while, but of course, we're just recently put on the podcast is PlayStation VR. Sony decided that they were going to do a trial basis for new customers if they actually registered for it. Registration is now closed because the sending out for these VR headsets.
They were sending out PlayStation VR units.
They're still doing it. It's from December 1st to December 14th. Okay. They're sending out these units to people that registered for it, and if you were chosen, they would actually send you out a PSVR trial bundle, a headset, PlayStation camera, the Move controllers. I guess it comes with both controllers in this case so that you can get the full experience. It comes with Skyrim VR and a demo disc.
So they're sending you the Skyrim bundle.
I guess it would be they're sending you the Skyrim bundle and a demo disc.
Well, it comes with it. So you get the When I got my bundle, my PlayStation VR bundle, it was, I guess it didn't come with the game at that point, but I'm pretty sure, I don't see why they wouldn't include the bundle with Doom, the Doom PSVR, the Gran Turismo one. I don't see, because it's a demo.
It's a demo. I don't know what games came on that demo just because I don't have myself a PSVR. I wasn't even sure if I actually wanted to do this trial, but when I was informed about it last week, I was like, should I sign up for it? Too late. Registration's closed.
They did it kind of as like a fire and forget. It's like
you had to get the email and be signed up for it.
Yeah.
But it was only for people who had PlayStation Plus. So of course I was included in that, but I didn't actually check it. I should have checked it sooner. But if you picked it up and you actually get it, you get to keep it for 14 days, and then you got to send it back. If you don't send it back, you will be charged.
Wait, was it they charge you and they'll reimburse you, or it was you don't get charged until after 14 days?
You don't get charged until after 14 days. But then if you don't send it back and they don't receive it, I think you have like 10 days to send it back within that period of time. They will charge you $300. Now,
which
that's actually
cheaper.
A discount. Yeah,
it's a discount.
Yeah, the original price is $450 versus the $300. So for the people that actually rented it out, they're getting a heck of a deal. They get to try it for 14 days, have all the sets, and on top of that, they get a $150 discount. Yeah, that's a huge drop.
That's a pretty good deal.
But between, when was it? Sony, they had their VR headsets being sold over 1 million between.
We talked about October it on the last podcast. How much they've all been selling cumulative, right?
Just talking about Sony itself, between October 2016 to June of 2017, they sold over 1 million units, but then after that, they kind of fell silent. Yeah. So they're doing this in a promotion to try and actually get people to start buying the units again so they could actually continue to make up for their sales. It's kind of an
expensive proposition, I guess, when you think about it. It's like they're shipping these things out, and I'm guessing they're paying for the shipping maybe, or whatever it is.
I think the shipping is free. I'm pretty
whatever
sure
it is, they're giving you a discount on what
they're
you
giving you a
normally
significant
would pay
discount.
$450 for. So,
and then on top of that, for the fact that it's VR consoles, you have HTC Vive for the PC. They're the ones that make the PC services for it. You have Valve that's still making games. Valve, the people that made things like Portal, Left 4 Dead, Half-Life. The head honcho, Gabe Newell, says they're working on 3 full-blown games for the Vive, which the general manager of Vive, Dan O'Brien, says that Valve is very committed to continue to actually develop more VR games, and down the line, it seems like they may be building a full body tracking suit.
Yeah, they're you know what the state, it's kind of like the state of VR, right? It's they're getting there slowly, but it's one of the hardest things about VR is that you do have to get it in people's hands, right? They have to try it. So this is a good way of PlayStation saying, you know what? Let's get it into people's hands. Let's have them actually try it. If you don't like it, have a couple weeks to send it back.
Well, a few questions I got for you, Carlos, is in the light of the way that the trend has gone for the VR units, do you think that VR itself can keep up their steam to actually continue to be in the market?
I think it's one of those things where I don't know if we've gone in debt about.
No, we haven't.
But it's one of those things where like the Vita was just kind of hanging on, but it was hanging on, and it was, I don't know if it was necessarily profitable for them, but it was one of those things where it's like, we don't promote it, so we don't spend any money in advertisement, and we keep
just
it
sell
going.
it because people should know it's there.
And I think for the most part, that's how PlayStation VR has been in the last year. When it first launched, they made a big push. These are the games that are coming out in January. You got Resident Evil 7, and for the last 9-10 months, like the first 10 months of this year, 9 months, there's no promotion. It wasn't like a big, let's make a big push of it. But now in the last couple months, they're like, let's do this trial. Let's make these bundles, these Skyrim bundles, Gran Turismo bundles.
With that, they don't have too many like major new titles or major new launches that are coming out for these type of games.
Well, but that's what I'm saying. They're having them this holiday. Doom is pretty big. Skyrim is pretty big because you can play these games. Well, Doom is sort of like a specialized version of it. They have I think they kind of picked a few different levels, and you can't just move. You have to transport yourself from one angle to. It's a really fast game. If you play Doom, it's a really fast game.
It's a very fast-paced
get
game.
Nauseous really fast, as you know, Dalen.
Oh, thanks, bringing that up.
We were playing Farpoint, and we were playing co-op, and I just hear you on the other end of the headphones like,
I gotta go,
and I can see it. I can picture it in my mind, you falling over because of the VR. So imagine playing Doom in that, right? But these are big games.
Well, as of right now, I wouldn't have that problem because I didn't just come out of the hospital.
Okay, that's fair. I mean, we have to get into it. Maybe in an uncensored we get into that. But so you do have they're making a big push. Doom, Skyrim, and Gran Turismo. They all include VR with it. And maybe they go silent again for another 10 months until the next holiday season.
Well, that brings me to my second question. Do you think that VR was overshadowed by the Switch?
Not necessarily, because it launched last year. It launched like last October, November, September, wherever it was. So no, I don't think it was a Switch that it over. I mean, the Switch was in March. You know.
Yeah, I know it was in March.
No, I don't. I honestly think it's two separate things, and the Switch is just like cannibalizing everything. It's not just the PSVR. It's PlayStation. I think it was the biggest selling system, right? Or they used some kind of tricky words in there, but I believe.
But I was just thinking about the fact that most of the sales were going to. Or at least not the sales for the companies that are creating games. They want to actually port their games over to this mobile Switch. So I didn't know if it was really affecting their sales in that particular case.
Yeah, no, I don't think so. I mean, it's affecting it as much as Switch is affecting everything else. You know, I in that sense, yes. So we'll move on, and this is kind of a little more of a heady topic, but you know, I want to see what you think of this, Dalen. So, you know, after seeing the October trailer for Detroit Become Human, there's a UK newspaper called The Mail on Sunday. It's kind of a weird name, The Mail on Sunday, and they report they report how different organizations in England are calling for a ban on the game Detroit Become Human. Damian Collins, who is the chairman of the Culture, Media, and Sports Select Committee, said, "I worry that people who play this, who themselves have suffered abuse, will use this game to shape the way in which they deal with abusers. It's dangerous to plant the seed in people's mind that the way to deal with abusers is to use violence against them. It's counterproductive and could put them in even more danger." And now Quantic Dream founder David Cage, in defending the trailer, you know, told Eurogamer, "You don't choose to talk about domestic abuse. It's not like I was like, oh, let's write a scene about domestic abuse. It's not how it works. There's meaning behind it. There's a strong story I need to tell. It goes through dark moments, but I think the story I have to tell is as it's something important for me. And I think when you do this, you do your work as an author, you do your work as a writer, you go into dark places in order to create something positive about it." So, you know, in the trailer, there's a scene where you've played Heavy Rain, I believe.
Yeah, I did play Heavy Rain.
So it's that type of game. Actually, you know what reminds me a lot of Until Dawn, man. It's very...
They're all just along the same lines.
But you don't get those games that often.
It's the involvedness.
You don't get that type of game that often. So Until Dawn was funny because to me it was like it's a Scream version of that. But anyways, going back to this, it's, you know, did you see the trailer? Did you see the Detroit?
Yeah, I did see the trailer.
So, and you saw that scene where it's a scene where
they're fighting in the street and they're trying to do that radical thing.
Well, no, this one's different. This one's actually the trailer for this one that's become controversial and it's gotten all kinds of people involved. Is the scene where it's kind of like you're in a home there's a father and a daughter and there's a robot in there, you know, sentient.
Oh yeah. Okay, so, I know what you're talking about.
And you make decisions to where he's gonna hurt the daughter. He's gonna, you know, there's like abuse going on. So it's really a controversial scene. But my question, Dalen, is, you know, are video games ready to tackle these more sensitive themes, you know? Or can you think of any examples of
Honestly, we've already started doing it. And for one fact, there's one theme that was already tackled and people already had the argument over it was, in itself, GTA 5 was violence of police versus the normal citizen. Because that was actually a huge thing for a long time.
It's been in GTA forever, man.
Yeah, no,
and you're not choosing, it's not as deep,
but that one's not as deep. But that was just one, that's just an example that people have actually used towards video games to use it as an excuse to say that is not the thing that we want to portray. So,
yeah, but this is another different
But the
level.
most recent one that I could actually think of is Wolfenstein 2.
Oh wait, no,
with the Colossus.
Spoilers. No spoilers. That's pretty recent. How do you did you see a trailer? Because I've heard about what happens in Wolfenstein.
Well, you don't have to think about the entire game itself, but you understand the fact that they immerse you in a world where you're fighting and killing Nazis with pretty much no remorse.
Why would you? They're Nazis.
Exactly.
And there's context to it, too.
But there's been the whole controversy for the people that actually, I guess, care about Nazis, where they don't want to actually portray...
See, I thought you were going a different way with it. Because there's actually a domestic abuse scene.
Yeah, I understand there's a domestic abuse scene, but you're asking me if video games are ready to tackle real-world problems with our current issues here in America.
Sensitive themes like domestic abuse and
this one's just a hot button. Yeah. It is a hot button, and it could set a good chunk of people off, primarily people of alt-right. So I know it's more of an abstract one. There isn't really any other games that really tackle the problem exactly like Detroit does. I mean, there's no other real game that actually tackles it like it.
So it'll be one of the few. I mean, I think Heavy Rain had some heavier themes, and it even had some scenes where it looks like there's kind of a sort of a rape situation in that game. So he's pushed it before. David Cage has pushed it before, and I think it's an interesting thing where it's like I saw the scene and I was like, that's kind of weird, right?
Yeah, is this game rated M for mature?
Yeah, but it's just one of those things where like I think the committee, and I think they sort of have a point because they're saying it's like, because in the game it's like, oh, you have to, they're kind of, like it says, like, it's counterproductive. It's like, well, you have to use violence against an abuser. So maybe I think in a way they got a point where it's like, it could have been a little more nuanced than that, and what is the proper way. But at the same time, he's telling a story. So I think that's part of what David Cage is saying. Is like, this is part of my story. So you don't choose to talk about these themes. They come up, and this is part of the overall story that I'm trying to say. So that he's trying to tell. So you really brought up some.
Actually, you know what? I can't think of one game that actually did point right at an issue. I think it was a Battlefield game or something like Call of Duty where they did that airport scene.
The no Russian.
The no Russian.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, and what was interesting about that one is that they actually let you skip it. So you're
they let you skip it.
This is sensitive information. You might not want to involve yourself with, which I didn't skip it. I was like, I do like, because this is one of those things where it's like, if you want video games to be taken a little more seriously, which I don't agree with the whole notion that we have to be Hollywood. It's like, we're not Hollywood.
We're not Hollywood.
It's a different thing. It's a equally respectable thing, but we don't have to be like Hollywood to be Hollywood.
We need to separate
could just be video
games.
But I think it's a good thing that we're like, you know what, we can touch on these themes, and it can be controversial, and it can be a sensitive subject, and we just hope that it's treated with some nuance.
It has to be treated with respect, and we got to be mature about it. That's the main thing about it.
Yeah, so that's one of the things that was going on. I think it's fair on both sides. I think it's fair for the but it's like these political organizations are just looking for something to like. I mean, I think the trailer was from like August or September, October, and we're in December that they're barely talking about it. So they're just kind of looking for little points.
That's another thing that they want to attack.
But it's an interesting thing that just kind of look at two sides of the argument where it's like, you know what, I can kind of see that where you're like, well, the only way to
if they're combating it actively in the UK and they see this as a threat towards their fighting the abuse in their states, then I can understand why they want to censor it, but they don't have to. They have to
because they're going for a ban.
Out.
They're going for a ban, and it's we'll see how it plays out, but I think it's one of those things.
It might hurt the UK if they do that. Anyways,
they're not a censor state. I think.
No, they're a censor state. They censor stuff. They're not a major censor state.
I get it, but I think, they're not as much as
Australia.
I think Australia does it. Yeah, right.
Terrible.
Australia is like really,
Australia, North Korea. There's a couple other countries that do it way worse. Yeah. All right, so just know that the game itself, even though it has that adult content that may actually be in there, again, if people are mature about it, there shouldn't really be a problem with actually releasing it. I hope they do get to release it in the UK. Because it'll actually be able to tell.
We'll get it here and we'll talk about it and they can talking about it.
I'm fine with that. Okay, so Bluehole, the creators of PUBG, they will be premiering their new map of the desert during the 2017 the desert in the 2017 The Game Awards, which is actually going to be happening December 7th.
Thursday.
That's this Thursday. So is PUBG big enough to really get so excited about one new map? I mean, I know I think you get like 80 players on one map, and you guys go after 100 players on one map.
And then it counts down like that.
It counts down. It's crazy. Yeah. And it's just, you got one map this whole time, and now we get one new map, and people lose their minds.
They're losing. I'll give you this, dude. It's nominated for Game of the Year. So
with one map.
PUBG in its early access form, and it's like we only have one map. You can barely vault. Apparently they just update. We talked about this a few episodes.
Vault.
You barely
just
be able to
jump
vault.
over a box. You can vault over a box.
So I'll give you that. It's nominated for Game of the Year. Whether or not you agree with if it should be in that category or not, because it's still an early access game, kind of doesn't matter, and I'm excited to play it next week, I believe, on
with
Xbox,
that one new map.
Xbox One. I think it should be dropping. With
and I heard that for Xbox, when it drops on Xbox, it's going to be 60 frames per second.
No. I that's what I was thinking. They had mentioned that they had to take a couple steps back. So what happened, I'm not sure if it was Bluehole or one of the developers, they asked him, either they asked him about it or he just said it, right? He said for Xbox platforms, they're aiming for 60%, 60 frames per second. Sorry, not percent. But they actually specifically mentioned, like, on Xbox One X, we're trying to get it to 60 FPS, and then they're like a day later, they're like, we're focusing on 30 frames per second on all the Xbox consoles. So I thought it would have been because we did have it on the rundown that we were going to talk about, wow, okay, so we got Xbox One really pushing into the next generation, where it's like, if you really have that big of a difference, where on this console you have it at 30 frames per second and on this one you have it at 60 frames per second, it's kind of a big deal. But they came back, and it would have been one of those big deals where it's like, oh, this is where it splinters, this is where we're going into the next generation. But they're kind of, we don't want to splinter it too much, because now they're just happy with getting the better lighting. Well, they have it on the system, but say on Xbox One you get full 4K, you get HDR, it looks prettier.
So they can spice it up a bit.
But you know what? If they had said that it is 60 frames per second on Xbox One, Xbox One X, and not on the original Xbox, I would have considered maybe buying an Xbox, because that means they're moving forward. They're leaving stuff behind. That's really what I'm waiting for. That's when we go to the next generation, right? We're kind of on this. Frames per second. We're kind of on this increment. Well, not even just 60 frames per second, but where it's that big of a change, because there's a pretty big change from 30 frames per second and 60 frames per second. So if they were willing to say only on the Xbox One, it's like, ooh, okay, this is where it starts. I need to get an Xbox One at some point. But speaking of PUBG, and we're gonna take it to China, Dan.
We're going back to China. I remember we talked about this at one point.
There's onto our honorable mentions. There's two PUBG mobile games coming to China. One is developed by Tencent Timmy, which is called PUBG. Hey, no, that's their name. Timmy. Timi. So I don't know if it's Timmy or Timi. But that one's a PUBG Army Assault, and the other one is by Lightspeed and Quantum Studio. They're doing another mobile game called PUBG Battlefield. They're both being developed on Unreal 4 on mobile. One is sort of a naval battle arcade game, and the second one is supposed to be closer to kind of the original PC game, where I'm guessing you don't go out in naval battles.
No.
So that in depth. I showed you the trailer. It looks pretty good, but how will it play, man? I mean, you're talking about playing it on your phone, a PUBG game. So
I think they've actually done a couple of games like that. It's going to be all touchscreen, period. Because I know there was an emulator for the Super Nintendo on your smartphones at one point, and they give you a little D-pad and little buttons, so you can press.
It's just terrible. Anything that's on a touchscreen, it's really bad. I mean,
it has terrible tracking for your thumbs, and you're gonna be hitting the button like wondering.
When the iPad came out, actually the iPad. So I had an iPad before I had a phone, right. And the iPad had a mobile service to it, so it's $30 for unlimited data. This is like the first month or 2 months of the iPad, because after a couple months they were like, we can't keep giving you guys unlimited. So I had too much. So I had grandfathered into unlimited data for like a year, 2 years, 3 years.
And then they had to cut it off.
No, until it broke. It broke. I couldn't re-access that grandfathered data or whatever.
Oh, nasty.
But this is just to say that during that time when it was greener pastures on iOS, it was looking really exciting. Now it's just a bunch of free-to-play nonsense, and there's a couple good games that creep through, but for the most part, when it first came out, it was an exciting moment in time. I actually wrote a weekly column on iOS gaming, for VG charts. We'll just mention VG charts real quick. It's neither here nor there. Right. It's neither here nor there, right? But I used to do a weekly column where I would talk about the games coming out, and at that point, there was these things that you would stick on the screen. It was sort of like they would suction onto the screen, and there were thumb pads. They were thumb pads that you actually was suction on the screen, and you used them as analog sticks. So they had kind of a resistance. If I can find them, I'll show them to you. Yeah, okay. But I'll put them on Twitter. It's like, this is what I was talking
about.
Show
this picture.
But yeah, they suction onto the screen, and you use them as a dual analog sticks, which is pretty terrible. But
But I guess it worked.
It was possible. Now they have these kind of things where they were actually there was some guys that were suing Nintendo for supposedly taking their design of the Joy-Cons that you could put on a mobile device. So it's one of those things where they've tried a lot of things, but it's it's still on mobile. And you have your phone in your pocket. You're not necessarily gonna, take all these extra.
And phones have gotten bigger too, so it'd probably be a good idea to have those type of joysticks if you're gonna add games like that.
Yeah. So we just hope for the best on iOS at this point. We just gotta. All right. Just gotta hang in there.
Another quick thing being for UFC 218.
Okay.
But this isn't even really a video game thing, but it kind of connects because
it's very much a video game thing. It's on Twitch.
Well, hold on.
Continue.
Well, it might be on Twitch, but UFC 218 is when they say 218, it's not 2018. It's number 218.
Anybody that watches UFC, anyone that watches UFC knows that, and you didn't have to explain it.
I'm just mentioning it just in case somebody doesn't understand that. But they've numbered each and every single major match for UFC, and this one was 218, but a Twitch streamer put up a pay-per-view match on his Twitch stream, and he put a little fake overlay over the screen, and he put his picture of himself holding the controller and a headset, and he was pretending like he was playing a video game while he was playing a UFC game, but it was in reality the actual UFC match. So he was being sneaky.
Yeah. What was it? The full event or no? Or just
he did like most of the event, and I'm just surprised that UFC did not catch this. Their whole streaming service, they normally try and look out for people that try and do those fake streams or actually the real streams of their video. How could they not know that is their people on the screen?
So if people don't know, actually, it's. This is done. This is done like on if you go to Facebook Live or if you go to Facebook Live or Periscope, I believe. If you go to Periscope or Facebook Live, they have these constant streams that is like whack-a-mole and they're trying to knock them down. So anytime there's a big boxing match or there's a big UFC match or there's a big, maybe basketball, not so much, but anything like that's a big boxing or UFC match, they're going up on Periscope and on Facebook Live. So I think these companies know to look on Facebook and then they'll look to Periscope and they shut them down like whack-a-mole.
But this
was on Twitch.
And it was listed as a game.
Yeah, so it's pretty fascinating. You know what? One of them is like he was kind of clever enough to like, I'm acting like I'm playing a game, but it's a real live match that I'm playing on here. Another respect,
complete with overlay and
that's what. He did
he did the whole life bars and time thing. That's what I'm talking about. That was all the stuff that he did. So he did it to trick them.
So that was one sense. The other sense is how good does the game look, where it's like people were maybe convinced like, he's just playing this match. I'm sure the people on the chat knew. They're like, this is not a real game.
This thing is real.
This is very, very real.
Look at the camera angles, guys.
But at a glance, it's like, it's just another Let's Play. It's just another one of those.
Do you think he'll be able to do it again?
They're watching them at this point. At this
they
point,
got him under it.
At this point, UFC is such a big like brand or corporation that
they will not let it happen again.
Next time we have an event, here, I'm gonna pay you $200 or $100. Make sure this guy's not streaming or knock it down.
They're gonna look at him specifically, park a van out in front of his house.
Yeah. So the next thing on our honorable mentions is Batman Ninja. I believe it was just announced or maybe during the last month or so, but it just came to the surface, I guess. I just barely saw it.
I know, a few weeks ago.
But Batman Ninja will release on DVD and Blu-ray in 2018, and it's from Takashi Okazaki, creator of Afro Samurai, who is he is the character designer for the Japanese animated film. You saw the trailer, Dalen? Looked pretty exciting. You're the animated fan, so I asked you, are you looking forward to it?
I am very much looking forward to it. I was already looking forward to an anime or a movie like this, or even a short TV show, because there was a point where WB released another short thing that they did. It was like 5 or 10 minutes long. I sent you a link for that one.
I did not click.
You should have clicked.
I should have did not click though. But continue with your story.
It was Batman China.
Okay.
All right. Okay. So it was like a Chinese version of Batman. It was he turned into bats. He literally turned into bats. Catwoman was in there. She was doing all kinds of magic and crazy stuff. Bane was looking excellent. And in this one, you got Batman in Japan being a ninja. Of course, in this case, he actually gets warped through time, and he's got to actually deal with that.
Yeah, that's kind of the premise, right? That he's thrown. I like how they really went all out, man, with the reimagining. They're like, he looks like a samurai Batman.
Yeah, he looks like a samurai
headgear.
Batman. They did it on multiple occasions, actually.
So, what is the last Because the Animatrix was sort of like very anime-ish, right? Too. Well, they did different directors, different kind of things. That's kind of the last.
No, Halo Legends.
Halo Legends was sort of
that was more recent
anime-ish. Okay, so what's your favorite of any of these reimaginings into Japanese of Western to Japanese?
I don't know, man. The Wolverine one was actually pretty good, and I enjoyed that one. There was an anime Japanese X-Men Wolverine thing that was actually pretty cool.
Okay. When was it? When did this come out?
It was like 2011 or something. I can't remember exactly when it was. It was back then. That's what it was.
I mean,
it was some years ago.
It looks pretty cool. It's coming out to Blu-ray and DVD. I mean, hopefully, I'm gonna wait till you buy it and I'll borrow it from you and I'll check it out.
Well, if it comes out in theaters, I'm gonna watch it in theaters. You better go with me.
Yeah, I'll think about it.
I'll drag you. It's all right. All right, so. Another thing we got, little quick thing, is Gary Whitta. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing his name right. So if I say it wrong, I say anybody's name wrong, I'm just gonna.
It's Gary Whitta.
It is now. So if I'm saying anybody's name wrong on any part of this podcast, I apologize, but I'm gonna say it as best I can.
It's Gary Whitta, Dalen. It's not that confusing.
There will be other names.
All right, that's fair.
Anyways, he was a co-writer. Who helped screenwrite for Telltale's Walking Dead. And he did that for the first, what do they call it? They called it the first season, right?
Yeah,
it was a whole first season. He actually co-wrote for it. He also helped write for Book of Eli, the movie, Rogue One, and apparently for their
Star Wars Rogue One. Yeah, so he worked on a Star Wars.
Well, when I say Rogue One, I'm pretty sure people know Rogue One.
I don't know.
All right, Star Wars, a Star Wars tale, just one side story, all right? Rogue One, he's returning to Telltale to do the 4th and final season. He's going to be helping write that one as well. I mean, I guess he skipped out on 2 and 3 because he was doing other stuff. He was doing bigger things.
He was on bigger.
But they were like, you know what? Let's bring him back. Let's do this one together. So, did you play the Walking Dead games? Did you play those?
Yeah, I played the original ones. And the original ones, they introduced us to a couple good characters. They introduced us to Lee and Clementine. So it was Lee, and it wasn't father and son. I believe. The internet's gonna know if I'm wrong, of course, but I believe it wasn't a father and son thing. They kind of found themselves during this Walking Dead situation, and it was really good because it's been years, but I still won't spoil it because it's a really good ending.
Did you appreciate the story?
Yeah, it was really good. It was really good, and it was that time when the show was pretty good still.
It was still at a high.
It's still decent, but it's kind of like it just goes up and down. It has really high highs and it has really low lows. So it's
try to drink some water. You go make
so the game, the first season was really really good. The second season was all right. It was getting there. Clementine's a little older, so you're following her around. And then the third season, I played like one of the episodes. Like, all right, I never went back to it. But now that Gary Whitta, which is you said he was a co-creator,
he was a co-screenwriter. He was
on the original Telltale's Walking Dead. So it's kind of cool that I believe this is the final season, the 4th and final season. So for him to return to the series, it kind of gives me some hope, But it's kind of weird because it's like
you
went on and did bigger things. What are you doing coming back? But it's a good thing that
I guess he wanted to actually help out with one of his original projects. And do you think he'll end it on a strong note now that he's back?
I hope so. I might have to go back to the third season. I might have to
go back and pick it up.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to go to the third season. And I hope they have hopefully this is the chance that Telltale has to improve your engine. Your terrible engine. Please fix your engine. So I hope this is kind of like the next step. We're gonna make it smooth. We're gonna make it a little better. It was good during Walking Dead season 1, but it's been years. Come on.
Yeah, Telltale. I stuck with my Borderlands and Batman, so I guess you could enjoy that.
so Dalen, something you'll really appreciate it. I know you enjoyed it last time we talked about it. That epic lawsuit that we talked about. They sued 2 people, right? So they sued a teenager.
Oh, you're talking about the company Epic.
And Epic Games settles lawsuit against Charles Raspier, who.
Man, why are you dropping names right now?
What do you mean? No, I'm not dropping names. Against Charles Raspier, that's the guy who got sued. That's the guy
I know.
Against Charles Raspier, who is not the teenager they sued. So what he got was a $5,000 fine against him if he violates the terms of the settlement, which means he doesn't pay a fine unless he violates those rules or any other restrictions laid out in the injunction. Raspier would be required to pay Epic $5,000 in damages in addition to attorney fees and additional monetary relief at the court's discretion, according to Gamasutra. So, it's $5,000. You don't pay it unless you don't stop. So is that fair, Dan? Do you think it's fair that $5,000? And what about the teenager, man?
Calm down on that part. But do I think it's fair that that if he stops, he doesn't get charged the $5,000?
Yeah. No, it's not that he stops. It's don't do it again. If you do it again, we're gonna fine you $5,000.
So you're saying it was like a warning, and they're gonna let him off with a warning?
Yeah.
Well, if they're saying, "Hey, we're gonna let you off with a warning, but next time it's gonna be detrimental," I could say that's okay. But at the same time, like, what? People are getting charged $12,000 because they downloaded one song.
Hey man, these are just aimbots, all right? They don't know any better.
They don't know any, but they know better because they created them.
So you're not satisfied with how this went?
Nah, I'm not satisfied. Honestly, I think even though I feel bad for the guy if he actually did get charged, at the same time, I wish he did get charged because they're already going through all these lawsuits to pick these people up. Yeah. They put all this money into trying to deter people. How is this really deterring people? And that means you just get a slap on the wrist the first time. The whole time, people are just going to be like, all right, let's do it once, and then when we go to court, don't do it anymore. That way we don't get charged. Well, but that's not how it's going to go down.
Well, no, I think just the fact that they did sue someone is enough to be like, do you want to get sued by Epic Games? Like, do you want to go through that turmoil? So I think they sent the message, and it's pretty loud. How about this? It's loud. I don't know if it's clear. It's like, all right, we sued somebody. Yeah, we settled. It's like, dude, going through a lawsuit is enough of a hassle. Why would you want to do that? Why would you even want to risk that? So I think
I almost got sued by Ghibli once.
All right, good job. Okay.
You don't even know who Ghibli is.
No, I know who Ghibli is, but I don't understand. Like, good job getting sued by Ghibli.
I almost got sued by Ghibli.
Did you settle?
No, they were actually nice enough to say, hey, stop what you're doing, or we will sue.
Well, no, that's what everybody does. That's what Nintendo does. That's what these. Well, this might have been actually. I think this might have been a countersuit. So I think the excuse that. So I read up a little bit more on the teenager involved and that wasn't settled. They haven't talked about it.
Okay.
That was something that. So they did do a takedown, kind of like what you're saying that supposedly Ghibli did to you. I want to see some proof. All right, for next podcast, show some proof.
Nah, I don't have it anymore.
Anyways, so what happened is they actually did a takedown they sent them a takedown or cease and desist type of letter, and he didn't do it. So I believe he countersued them. So that's how the teenager got himself, because they were like, we're not out here trying to sue teenagers. He countersued us because we asked him to take it down. Yeah. But anyways, we got some kind of conclusion out of this, and it's like a week later, right? So I love this.
At least it happened.
At least it happened.
They went through the whole process.
They didn't take it to the next level. So
all right. So another quick thing we got is Nintendo is more welcoming to indie video games than Sony or Microsoft, apparently, because
lately.
Well, according to Tommy Reffins, I don't know how to say his name, but he's the developer of Super Meat Boy.
Oh.
Okay, so he was porting Super Meat Boy Forever, and he stated, and I quote, when we were doing it, well, actually, I'm not quoting the whole thing. I'm paraphrasing at this point.
Fine.
But he needed to use their development tools to actually port it over to the Switch system. But he said they went from nothing to working in 2 days. Okay. Apparently, that's very quick. And that he was legitimately surprised of how well thought out everything was by Nintendo. So that's awesome to know that Nintendo has created a system to allow indie companies to be able to port so easily to their systems. And the development tools were apparently, quote, night and day compared night and day compared to Microsoft and Sony's,
which was known to be
tools.
Very accessible.
For apparently Microsoft originally had the most accessible development tools to be able to do the transfer for the systems. Sony were the ones that really pushed for it, but now Nintendo, they really stepped up their games and they're really competing with all of them. Do you think that Nintendo is pushing harder than Sony is on these indie games?
Well, yeah, and I mean they're put so what it is like it's all a battle with these companies. They won't outright say it, right, but it's like, ooh, we're in third place, we're in second place. The Wii U was a complete bomb. The Wii U was a complete bomb.
Well, Super Meat Boy, he even passed over the Wii U.
So Nintendo is kind of like, what do we have to do? So we have to come up with an original idea. We have to make it easily accessible to developers, and it's really a Switch. Honestly, I hope this doesn't come to news to anybody.
It's a Switch.
It's just an Android, really. It's just a specialized Android that connects two controllers on the sides. It's really just a tablet that has controller.
But it's non-touch.
So a lot of it. No, it is touch.
It's touchscreen?
Yes, it's a touch. That's what I'm saying. It's just a tablet with two controllers on the side.
Straight up tablet with extensions.
But the key to the Switch is execution. It's Nintendo, and you can only get Nintendo licenses on that. Okay. So it's all in the execution. So hearing this from the Super Meat Boy developer, it's really, it's really good to know. And I mean, 2 days, it's like, I don't know. I've never made a game, right? But I'll take them at their word. That's like, it's very quick. So Microsoft
I've heard like other companies that they would try and actually use a development tool for like Sony, and it would take them like 3 weeks to like a couple of months because they're trying to make their whatever program compatible with their system.
Well, and it's what I said, and it's kind of like what I said with the Switch is they've made it so their libraries are easy to access, and they use Unreal Engine, they use Unity, they use all these different. They're like, sure, get Unreal going, get Unity going, get
like just bring them all in,
bring all these engines in, so it's easier for people to port and easier to access. And like I said, these developers have been using this type of tech before. It's an Android.
Yeah, but I guess in this case they actually, laid out some railroads for these indie companies.
They went above and beyond.
Yeah, they created a fast track streamline system for the people that want to port their games over to the Switch. And anybody who's listening, third party or indie, go to Switch as of right now. They're ready for you.
Well, they're ready for you. In the meantime, it's still open enough to where like you can find some success there. But other than that, who else is? Speaking of, we talked about Capcom earlier on the podcast. We'll bring them back. So Capcom developer and Resident Evil 0 director Koji Oda recently told Game Informer, and I'm guessing he's been working with Capcom for a long time. So he worked during the SNES era and all that. So one of his quotes, and he told this to Game Informer recently, he said, "It's not that well known, but before Resident Evil went to the PlayStation, I was working on it for the Super NES. This was back before the name Resident Evil had even been assigned to it. The codename for this was literally just," and he quotes, "horror game." On the SNES, we were working with limited hard drive space, so it's not like we could dump a movie in there. If we had actually completed it on SNES, I'm sure it would have been considerably different. For example, it was originally set in a place that had nothing to do with reality, more of a hellish place. So, I mean, it's really, Resident Evil, the original one it was kind of like look, we can do this on CD-ROMs now. Look what we can do now, right? Of course, they use little cheats, right? It controlled like a tank. You were playing in, what do you call it? In predetermined paths, or we were on a flat screen, basically, going either back and forth. Do you not remember?
What do you mean predetermined paths, though?
Because this is an audio podcast, Dalen just gave me a very befuddled look. But no, not predetermined path. I should say it's...
linear?
You were going from screen to screen, static screen.
Oh, okay, yeah, that's what you mean. Like you leave off the screen and then it would load the next screen.
So I mean, you played the original Resident Evil, and you played Resident. I mean, imagine playing it on the SNES.
Nope.
You can't imagine it.
I can't actually imagine it, but I can only imagine it in 2D.
Yeah.
I can't really imagine it in 3D.
So it's kind of cool to think that, like, all right.
I can't imagine it with voice casting at all, because they had the whole scripting for the people.
It would have been something else. Even though it was poorly
voice casted, it didn't matter. It was all a part of the game.
Yeah. Well, it was at a time when everything was green, right? It was like, look what we can do. Look what we can do with CD-ROM, right? With this technology.
Everybody's mind was blown.
So that's more of an interesting anecdote that I was like, all right, what could have been? So.
All right. Well, next quick thing. We've actually touched on this briefly before. It was very quick before, so I'm not going to go into major details on it.
But we haven't actually.
I could have sworn we did. All right. Well, since we haven't, just to give you a brief breakdown, Disney decided that they were going to sue Redbox for renting out their digital versions of their movies because they were actually selling them out for a significantly lower price than they were being sold on the Apple Store or iTunes. They would buy the DVDs.
Okay, I thought you were going to get to that. Okay, yeah, you're getting into the nitty-gritty.
Yeah. So they would buy the DVDs or the Blu-rays, and it would actually come with the digital codes. And, those as people would buy the DVDs or Blu-rays, the digital codes is supposed to be for backup and for you only. Yes. But Redbox said, you know what, we're going to make money off of this. Let's just sell it out of our own kiosks. So they would actually sell it to people and have them come and pick up a slip of paper that have the code on it. And then they would actually be able to download the movie for way cheaper than what the company was selling it for. And Disney did not get any of those proceeds. So do you think that Disney's in the right for actually suing them for this?
Of course they are. Of course they are. But it's funny. Like I remember seeing a quote from Redbox. They're like, "We're very consumer focused, and we believe we have the consumers' minds or the consumers' interest in mind with doing this." But
they do.
But it's like, dude, we
also want money.
You bought it's a business. You want profit. No, but it's one of those things where like, you bought a DVD and the code that comes into the DVD, you're reselling it? Yep. I didn't know that's what they were doing. Yep. Like, I would go to a Redbox, like, they have code. Why would I want a code? I mean, I don't want to buy a movie for $15. I don't buy DVDs.
But you didn't know it was so much cheaper.
Well, yeah, I don't buy DVDs or Blu-rays, so now I'm like, wait, okay, yeah, DVDs, Blu-rays are like $20 or $20 plus. These guys are saying it for $14. Like,
$7.99.
$7.99. Okay, we need to go get some before they stop doing it. But yeah, of course they are, man. Of course, there's like a case like.
No, they've already put a cease and desist on it. They can't sell you it anymore.
And you said the exact right thing. It's like, it has a backup. We're giving you an extra copy out of the kind of, I don't know if the goodness of their heart, but
no, not out of the goodness of their heart. We're selling you the copies. Telling people.
No. What I'm saying is Disney themselves are selling these DVDs, and as a bonus, you're like, okay, so you get the DVD, you get the right. I think they said with Blu-ray DVD, and they're like, oh, and here's a code for you to watch it wherever.
Now, here's the thing about that though, is with other companies that Redbox has their deals with, is they actually have the deal where they would purchase the DVDs or Blu-rays from those companies, and they would not come with the codes, even though originally they should. They didn't have that same deal with Disney, and they were like, all right, they're sending us the codes. Let's sell them.
No, that's not it.
That's basically what happened, though.
That's not it, Dalen. What it is they had these deals with these other companies, and the companies are just selling them discs. But for Disney, they're buying the copies themselves. They're buying them retail.
Oh, they're buying them themselves.
These copies so to them, I think.
I missed that fact.
So I think Disney, of course, is completely in the right, but Redbox, based on this muddy legal system, they might have a case where it's like, well, we bought them retail, we didn't have a partnership with them.
But I know that Disney actually brought up the fact that there was actually the little, what are those called? The things that are at the bottom of a page.
Code.
No, not the codes. The fine print, stating that you cannot sell or reproduce the digital copies.
Yeah. So ultimately, it's going to be like...
It's going to be a battle. It's going to be its own little battle.
It's going to be a nice little battle, but I just think it's hilarious. I was like, I didn't know that's what they were doing. Redbox, man. Redbox is trying to find out what they're getting away with. So on to the next thing. Damn, this weekend is the PlayStation Experience in Anaheim, and they're doing the Street Fighter V World Champion. That's where he's going to be crowned. The World Champion gets to take home over $370,000 in prize money.
Really vamped up the price.
Capcom Cup 2017, and apparently for the first time in Capcom history, the event will span 3 days. That's according to the PlayStation blog. Day 1 features the first ever Capcom Cup 2017 Last Chance qualifier. So where one player will qualify for the final spot in Capcom Cup. The 32 players will then compete on day 2 to make the top 8. The 8 finalists will compete in the Capcom Cup finals on day 3 at PlayStation Experience at the Anaheim Convention Center. Now, I have one question for you, Dylan. Now that you know that one of these days there's a last chance qualifier, are you going to try to get that final spot?
You know I'd lose real fast. Have you seen the way these people play?
I
mean, I know how to play. I know how to play some Street Fighter, but no, these people figure out how to break the game, how to juggle you in combos, and I can barely
counting frames. They're counting frames.
No, they're not just counting frames. They're counting resets in those frames.
Well, I never even heard this term reset. I've heard resets, just not necessarily resets in the frame.
Imagine it this way: you get knocked off the ground and you're up in the air and they're juggling you, right? Mm-hmm. And just as you touch the ground, you think your body's going to hit the floor. No, they hit you again, and suddenly your character is standing up. and they continue their combo.
Very upsetting. It's a next level stuff. It's like when we try to enter the Rocket League tournament, and we're like, we'll do all right. We'll do it. No. We got ways to go. We got ways.
We got straight up destroyed.
Yeah. But that's kind of cool. That's kind of I don't think they do it that. Maybe that's the anomaly or whatever. That it's a 3-day thing, and one of the days is, hey, this is your last chance to try to get in.
No, the anomaly is the fact that it wasn't originally featured by Capcom. It was just the thing that fans would do, and they would actually put their own pools of money into it.
It was like Evo, right? Or that Evo's not considered fan because.
No, it started off as a fan thing.
Now it's a serious.
Yeah, then it became a serious thing. I mean, they've been doing Evo for quite some time.
How much does Evo give you? How much does Evo? What are they up to?
I think the last one I saw was like 200,000 or something like that. Like
we're getting there,
serious,
man. We're getting so far in there.
But esports is crazy money. But either way it goes, when it comes to fighting games, that's a high amount.
Well, no, yeah, I mean, it's one of those things where, like, that's a whole separate argument whether you consider esports an actual sport. But it's like when you start getting real money into it, it's a sport. It's a sport. You can argue that it's not a physical sport or whatever. I mean, to me, honestly, I would think instead of esports, it could be competitive sports. But no, competitive video games or something. But it's not as sexy as esports. Esports is like just as
sexy.
It's just a quick word. Esport, even if it's not the perfect name for it, it's still esports. There you go, one word.
Either way it goes, it's serious money. I consider it a sport.
So myself. I'm hoping we'll get you there, Dylan. We'll get you there to qualify for.
We need to get you there.
I will not make it. I will.
All right, fine. I'll use you as a practice dummy. Let's go. All right. So another thing, a great piece of news that I was very excited to see when I saw it on the news was the GoldenEye speedrun record was broken.
Okay, a specific one.
A specific one. There aren't too many records for GoldenEye, with the exception of this one. This was like the major speedrun one because this one had not been touched in 15 years.
Oh, in that sense.
Okay, so people have been able to match it, but they have not actually been able to exceed it. 15 years, people have just continuously tried.
What's the speed run? What level?
The speed run for Nintendo 64's GoldenEye is the very first level on the lowest difficulty setting, Agent. Basically, you just need to beat the level.
Okay.
The only objective for beating the level is jump off the dam.
Okay.
That's the whole objective. But getting there takes a while because you got to open all these doors, follow trucks, kill people, whatever it might be. But the speedruns...
Now that I'm thinking about it, what's the record? The
record was 53 seconds.
53 seconds to get from that beginning scene. The camera wraps around. Can you skip the camera rotation?
No, you cannot skip the camera rotation.
You got to wait for the camera rotation. There's the first bunker.
As soon as you get a hold of your gun, you can move.
Okay. You go through the bunker, or not through the bunker. You got to skip the bunker. You can't.
You don't just skip the bunker. I watched this new speed run. This guy turns sideways because apparently strafing is faster than running straight on.
Okay. Oh, you know what? Now that
he wasn't even looking at nobody. He wasn't looking at nobody. He just ran sideways, ran straight through the gates as they were opening. He didn't care about the other bunkers. He knew exactly where to step. He shot locks off of gates and pushed those things open. Yeah. Like he's just sideways. He knew it was coming. And boom! Oh man, that lock was gone.
I was not aware but he knew.
He knew, and he booked it all the way to the end all the way to the center of the dam.
Yeah.
He jumped off the dam.
Speedruns are something else, man. They're good.
Good. What's the new record? 52 seconds. He chopped off a whole second. Apparently, there were all kinds of variations that helped him go faster. Yeah. Like, I guess the way you're looking up and down can make you move faster. Wow. Strafing, of course. He was getting shot by people in agent mode that kept pushing him forward, so he kept moving faster than normal.
So he's considering people shooting him to propel him.
No, he didn't even have to consider that. The game does the consideration for him.
Well, no. What I'm saying is...
Oh, well, they consider it as a factor of how he did it.
He needs to know when they're going to shoot him, where he's going to shoot him.
I don't even think he knew that. He was just running, and he just ended up getting shot.
So this was like a by luck.
Yeah, this was like a stroke of luck he beat it. Right. And then when he jumped off, and they showed the thing at the end, the people on Twitch lost their minds. This guy lost his mind.
I bet. It's pretty awesome, man. It's pretty awesome. It's like GoldenEye is something that we know. Well, I
loved GoldenEye.
I know it just so even to say it's like I know that level. picture. I already know.
Hey, no choosing odd job, all right? No choosing odd job.
No odd job. All right, we'll find and then on this one last important one. So, Curse of Osiris, it should be out today because this podcast releases on a Tuesday. Curse of Osiris is coming in hot, so there's no preload for it.
I like the snap coming in hot.
You had to be there at 8 a.m. And it'll be ready to play by the 10 a.m. maintenance. So I hope that happened today while you're listening. I hope that happened earlier today. But, one of the things that we can mention, because other than that, it's like you're probably playing it right now. But Deej, Bungie's community manager on Twitter, said on Wednesday morning, we'll go on record as to when the raid layer will open the fire team. So it's not
waiting for it.
It's not available day one or the next day. We're going to have to wait. So, but
where is it going to be at?
Well, the raid layer, we talked about this.
That's right.
The raid layers, you walk up to it.
I still want it to be Volta Glass.
I did hear a little bird tell me that you might not be grabbing it. You might not be joining us for this latest excursion.
Oh, no, I just currently don't have it. I need to pre-order it.
Oh, I don't have it either, man.
I need to
I got to go in there and type it in. Hopefully, by the time this is up, I'm playing it. I'm in it. I'm deep in it.
You trying to do it tonight?
What do you mean tonight? Tonight as in Tuesday? You're referring to Tuesday?
Yeah, I'm sorry. You're trying to do it like right now?
Yeah, so I'm ready to go, man. We got to do this. We have to play this. And we should have impressions by on Thursday's episode, so look forward to that. Other than that, Dan, that's it, man. We'll be on Destiny. I mean, if it's anything to go by, we'll be done with it within a week, so we'll see how that goes.
I'm not trying to beat it that quickly, and I ain't got time for all that. We have other lives to live outside of Destiny, but I love me some Destiny.
Another episode of Salient Points with your host, Carlos Macias, and
co-host Dalen Kirkwood. You can find me on Twitter at _Zaysha _double_.
And you can find me at Aduce Clean. But we gotta do some Destiny. It'll be all right. We'll get that down. We'll be done in a week, and then we'll wait for the spring update to happen.
One step at a time.
I'm gonna be somebody tonight. I'm gonna be somebody tonight.